Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening for some. How's everyone doing today? This is Tony Caggiano from the Entrepreneurial Journey Facebook group and podcast, and we are here once again with another great episode, another great guest. Here we go. Just taking that down. Still trying to get used to StreamYard again. It's been a while. Yes, it's been a while since we've done an episode like this. So I am getting back into it for 2021 and have a great lineup of some great guests. But today we have a new friend of mine, Eric Thayne. And I was just recently introduced to Eric from a good friend of ours, mutual friend of ours, Christopher Voss, Mr. ROR himself. And I have had the pleasure of getting to know Eric a little bit over the past couple of weeks and learning about, his background and what he's doing. And he's going to tell us a lot more about what he's all about, what he's doing right now to help others, and a little bit about himself. So welcome, Eric. How are you?
Hey, Tony. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate you.
It's a pleasure to have you here. It's been, like I said, a lot of fun getting to know you a little bit better, watching your videos that you put together and your backstory. And we're going to introduce you to a lot more people today, so that way they have the pleasure of getting to know what you're doing. So, so as we do always here in the Entrepreneurial Journey, let's start out by learning a little bit more about you. How did you, get started? How did your entrepreneurial journey first start?
Yeah, good question. So it's kind of a funny story, actually. I got started selling online when I was 13 years old. Actually, it was my very first experience selling online, and I was selling T-shirt designs to screamo and metal bands on MySpace. Do you remember MySpace, Tony?
MySpace. Wow. Yes.
Yeah, like pre-Facebook.
Oh, good. I'm not the only one who remembers it here.
Yeah, it's like everybody would like interact with each other on MySpace, and you had a profile and everything. It was before social media was a really big thing, and so we'd use MySpace, and MySpace was really cool. And there were a lot of bands on MySpace, and the bands would they'd have a profile, and they would need like pictures and like GIFs and graphics and like T-shirt designs to fill out their profile. And so I started creating these T-shirt designs and actually like designing them for them, and then sending them to them, and then they would pay me. And all this was happening. So I was 13 years old. This was in 2003, 2004. Okay. This is like it was actually revolutionary. The fact that I was able to talk to people all over the world, send them designs, create designs for them, send them to them in 2003. And then like they would pay me over PayPal. PayPal was like very new at the time. Yeah. And I that's kind of what I was doing. That's how I got started, like my entrepreneurial journey, right? That was my first business. And the funny thing is that like I did not realize at the time how powerful that is, to be able to like communicate like that with anybody and get paid online. And unfortunately, I didn't realize that until much later. I started quite a few businesses growing up, and throughout my teenage years and my early 20s, my goal was always to figure out what it is that I love to do, and then figure out how to make money doing it.
Yeah.
And so I went through that process and pivoted over and over and over again, just trying lots of different things. And I eventually, and they were all creative things. So I did I was into drawing and graphic design and web development, app development. I got into music production and filmmaking and all this kind of stuff. But it wasn't until 2016 was when I started my first online course. Okay. So I had been running a production company as a filmmaker, and kind of growing that way, and that was going well. And I had this idea of like, what if I created an online course and started teaching other people how to make films? And maybe that would help me to grow even further, because like that can be more of a passive income source. It allows me to create a product rather than trading my time for money. And so I was like, there's a lot of advantages here. I'm going to try this out. And I did that, and our business actually like did pretty well right out the gate. In our first year selling online courses, we did over 6 figures, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And so we started growing and like building things out and trying to learn how to do things. And I started just exploring like every method possible of selling online courses and digital products. And so I started doing like funnels and webinars, or funnels where I would like get on the phone with people, where people would watch like a free training, and then they would get on the phone, and I would sell them on the phone. And then I started doing webinars and trying to do that and trying to make those webinars work. And then I started doing like automated webinars that would just run automatically in the background. And then I started doing like a high ticket program, like a more high ticket like coaching program. And then I got into like a lower ticket like lead magnets and stuff like that. So we tried everything. We tried all these different types of funnels, right? And as I went through this process, I kind of like I went like year one, like we made like 100 and something thousand. Year two, like 150,000, and then year three, like maybe just a little bit more than that. And I just, year after year, I was just hitting the same level over and over again. Right. And you know how that feels as an entrepreneur? It's like
Absolutely.
3 years in a row hitting basically the same revenue number. You're just like, man, I'm not really growing. So like, what am I doing? Like, why am I doing this? And so that was kind of like, I hit that point and I was trying everything, was doing all these different types of things and trying to figure out how to do it. And just like, nothing would get me to that next level. Nothing would help me grow. And so, I was like, I don't know what that is. And, within 3 years, so the first 3 years of our business, we had hit just about, $500,000 in revenue. Okay, so 500,000, and to be clear, like I'm grateful for that. That's amazing. But like if you're an entrepreneur, which you are, and everybody's listening who's an entrepreneur,
Absolutely.
that when you hit one level, it just gets you even more fired up to go to the next level, right?
Exactly.
And so I didn't want to be stuck at that level. I was looking at people like getting like 2 comma club awards. You know what the 2 comma club award is, where it's like 2 commas for $1 million. So when you make $1 million, like ClickFunnels gives you a 2 comma club award. And so
I
was like
think
watching.
that's what everybody, that I know of online here, at least in this space, that's what everybody achieves for is hitting that $1 million mark.
Yeah.
And that's really a goal that, we're all trying to achieve. And that's one of our, one of the things that we're trying to do here.
Yeah, and like your first $1 million is like such a huge achievement. It's
Yeah.
like it's so big, and they give you an award for it, and it's really cool. And so like I remember sitting there like watching other people get their awards, and I was like, man, next year that's gonna be me. And then the next year would come, and I'd be like, next year that's gonna be me. And the next year would come, and I'd be like, next year that's gonna be me. And it just wasn't happening over and over again. And I hit a point where I was stuck, and I honestly wanted to give up. I thought like, well, this isn't working. And give up doesn't mean like just completely give up and go get a job or something like that. Like I would never. It's not in me to do that. But it was more like, maybe I should trash this business and like try something else. Or I started daydreaming about other business ideas or other niches that I could go into that I think would be more successful. And I started blaming my market and I got into a bad mindset space of like,
Yeah.
this isn't going to work with my market. They don't have the money, whatever. Started like blaming everything except for me, of course. That's how we do it, right?
It is. And I've been there several times, being an entrepreneur for 30 plus years, you get to that point where it's like, is it me, or is it everything around me, and do I give up and do I try something different? Am I really destined to make it with this business? So it's it's that negative mind space that you get in, and you have to really try to focus and really do what you need to figure out, is this what it's going to be? And you just keep on moving.
So important.
Yeah.
So I got into that negative mindset. And the good thing about times when you get stuck or when you fail, right, is that usually like good things are bred out of that, right? So what happened is it was around this time that I decided, well, you know what, I need to do something different. And so I chose a different type of funnel. I said, I'm going to choose I need to get more customers into my products. Like, how am I going to do that? So I decided to create a front end, like low ticket offer that I could bring in buyers. And the idea was like, if I can bring in buyers and I can do it like at break even, then I can ascend those buyers into my higher ticket offerings. And then I'll be able to grow my business and make profit on both ends of the business.
Wow.
And so that was kind of the idea. And I decided to go all in. And like, I listened to Russell Brunson. He's like a friend and a major mentor of mine, and just has been like, he's like one of the most amazing marketers alive today. And Russell always said, if you want to be successful, focus on one funnel, one offer, and one traffic source until you make $1 million.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, well, I've been hearing this for years, but I haven't done it yet. So I guess I better do it. And what I've been doing for the last 3 years hasn't been getting me there because I've been jumping around from thing to thing to thing. And so maybe there's wisdom in that. Maybe if I just focus. So I chose this one funnel. It was a front end low ticket offer. I said, I'm going to go all in on this funnel. And so I went all in. I built out the whole thing. I created the course called Lighting Secrets, and I launched it, and it didn't work at first. But I went through a process of tweaking and testing, working on it over time. And as I worked on it, because I had made the commitment to myself that I'm not giving up. See, the other times I'd gone somewhere else when it didn't work. This time I decided to focus. And so I kept working on it. And crazy thing happened within just, within just a few months. So like I told you, it took us 3 years to get halfway to $1 million. We did the other half in just 6 months.
Wow.
Crazy acceleration, right?
Wow.
And like the 6 figures, the 7 figures, that's exciting. The money's really cool. But like the best part about it was that like finally, I had a business that was working. It was making me profit. It was giving me the freedom that I wanted. Like making money's fun, but like I think when we all talk about like making money or being able to grow a business, like what we're really looking for is what the money represents and what the money enables is the freedom to spend more time with my family, the ability to go out and make an impact on the world and actually like do something significant with my life. And that was really what this allowed me to achieve.
Wow. So what was it that really helped you, change? What was the thing that changed to help you really get there in, after 3 years of just working, and then boom, 6 months later, you're a 2 Comma Club award winner.
Yeah. So I created this offer that I now call a mighty offer. Okay. Because it's mighty. Yeah. The definition of mighty is something that's very powerful, especially on account of size. Well, meaning something that's small but powerful. That's what it was. Right. Like it was just this little offer that literally scaled me to multiple 7 figures in revenue, just like all by itself. And it's been the secret to all of the products that I've ever sold that have been successful has been using this same formula over and over again. And now we're doing it in different niches and for different people, and like it just keeps working, right? And so what happened is I created this offer. The idea was I'm going to create like a front end offer. I'm going to bring in buyers, people have, attract my ideal clients that are going to buy this offer. And then when they do, I'll say, hey, guess what? Would you like to ascend into my higher ticket offers? So what happens is rather than using like a lead magnet, for example, where you pay a bunch of money to get a bunch of people on your list. And then the reality is that like, what do we all know about leads? They're freebie seekers. They don't buy. They just fill up your list. They make you pay more for your contacts on your list. And you don't get a lot of sales out of them. And that's what I was struggling with as well. Well, with the mighty offer, you actually get paid to bring leads, if you will, onto your list, except they're not leads, they're buyers. And somebody who's bought from you once is so much more likely to buy from you again. And so you fill up your list with all these quality people and then send them into your higher ticket offers. And so this was the revelation that I had, was that like, wow, if I can build this, I can make it work, then that would be awesome. Now, it didn't happen overnight. It wasn't immediate, but I had decided to go all in on this funnel, and I committed myself to going all in. And so what happened, Tony, and this was crazy. So when I initially launched this funnel, we were actually bleeding money, meaning that like the goal of the funnel, the goal of any product is to like, you spend $100 to get somebody to buy, and then you make like $200 or $300 or $400 or $500 back, right? That's how you make a profit in your business. Okay. My business wasn't running that way. I was spending $100 to get somebody, and I was making like $50 back. Oh, God. And so we had thousands of dollars that we were losing every single month from this funnel. And I was like, what is going on? But I started tweaking and testing. Trying to figure it out, like just dialing in this funnel, everything I could do to test. And I would go to my mentors and I would say, what else can I test? And they would give me ideas, and I would go and test those things. You know how split tests work? Like you do 2 different versions of the page, run half the traffic to one of them and half the traffic to another one. Right. See which one works better. And so I did that over and over and over and over again. And here's what happened. So in February, this was early 2019. In February, before I started all this, we made about $15,000 in revenue. And that was at a $3,000 loss. Wow. So like, we started the beginning of the month at one level in our bank, and like ended the month with less money in the bank. Okay. When
That's
that
not the way
happened,
that's not the way you want to do it.
that's not how you're supposed to do it, right? You're doing something wrong. And so that's what happened. That was what was happening. So that's where we were at. We started going through this process. In March, we went from 15K to 30K. In April, we made $50,000. And in May, we had our first six-figure month. We made over $100,000 in 1 month just
Wow.
on this one $47 product.
Wow.
By August, we flew past the 2 comma club line with our entire business. And now that funnel, all by itself, that one $47 product has made over $1 million just by itself, not counting all the back end sales from our hard ticket offers.
So you're going to share with us what that secret was. What was that tweak that you made?
Yeah, so it was a lot of tweaks, right? There are a lot of things that we did. So with split tests, what you do is you just try different things, right? See, like ask people like, what can I do to improve this funnel? And you try these different things. And so I went through that process and I started testing things. And when you test things, like sometimes it was like I would change the headline, sometimes it was add a testimonial, maybe change the color of a button, little things like that a lot of times. And you test those things. And so as I was going through that process, sometimes you would test things and like it would just make like a tiny little increase.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sometimes you test things and it would make a little bit of a decrease. Okay. So it's a little bit like this as you grow. But if you add up all of those winning tests and you put them together, it creates this massive return. So what happened is at the beginning, like we were losing money on the funnel. Okay. So we're spending money on ads to get people to get traffic into this funnel, and we were losing money. We went, just by making these tests and tweaks, we went from losing money to being break even and then profitable, and not just profitable, but 4 times profitable, which means for every dollar we were putting in, we were making $4 out.
I learned along the way. I've been Russell and doing funnels and things like that and doing testing and things, and I always thought there was like, what's this one thing that I can tweak to make it just like explode? And like you said, it's not just one thing. It's a lot of little things. And I think that's an important thing for people to take away from today as well is, when you're going through this process and you're putting together your offers and you're building your funnels and you're split testing, it's not just the one thing that you're going to change that's going to flip the switch. It's really tweaking it and working it a little bit and changing things. And maybe some changes will, decrease and some will make it better. But it's a constant effort of, figuring out little things to try and seeing how that will affect it. Because one thing that I want people to understand is that it's not an overnight process. It is, a consistent, drive to work every day to figure out your offer and what's going to work for you as you're going through this process. But another thing that you'd mentioned before too, this was a $47 offer, right?
Yeah.
So how did you go, so quickly and make that was a lot of sales in order to get that?
Yeah.
How did you make that much with a $47 offer?
Yeah, so it's funny. So yeah, so with a $47 offer to make $1 million, we had to get about 14,000 sales. All right, that's a lot. So like people always ask me like, how do you get that much traffic in your funnel?
Yeah.
How do you make that happen? And it's a great question. So yeah, so in its prime, like when that funnel was doing its best with the very best results that we've ever had, it was selling about 50 to 100 copies a day. Okay, so to get 50 to 100 copies a day, if you consider that like 3%, 3 to 5% of people will actually buy it, then like 50. Let's see, I'm gonna do a little bit of quick math here. But we're looking at like 1,600 people to 3,000 people visiting the funnel every single day. Now.
Wow.
Okay, if you're starting out or if you haven't done this yet or whatever, like you're probably looking at like, how am I going to get that many people?
Yeah.
You're posting on social media, you're creating content, you're running a podcast, you're doing all this kind of stuff. You're like, but like I'm getting like a few clicks a day, like 2 or 3, or 10 or 20, maybe 100, not 3,000. How are you doing that? Well, so we use Facebook ads, and that's been our primary driver. We've used Google ads as well. And then we also do organic content. So there's nothing wrong with organic content. But the reality is like, I realized early on that like, if I wanted to like grow fast, I had to be willing to spend money on ads.
Yeah.
Because like ultimately, like making money is not necessarily about how much you make. It's more about how fast you make it. Wouldn't you agree? Like if I make $1 million in 40 years,
Yeah.
like most people wouldn't consider me like wealthy or rich, right? But
Right.
if I do the same thing in a month, then that's a different story. So it's more about how fast you make it, not so much about how much you make. And so I decided in my head, like, well, I want to get there as fast as possible. What is the vehicle that I need to use? And that's, I need to pay for ads. And so, there's two different ways to get traffic. You can get organic traffic or you can get paid traffic.
Mhm.
The big advantage of organic traffic is that it doesn't cost you any money, right?
Right.
It's free. It does cost you a lot of time, but it doesn't cost you any money. The big disadvantage to organic traffic is that it's very slow, painfully slow. And you're running a podcast, like it's
Mhm.
probably taken you a long time to build the podcast to this level. It takes work, it takes time. It's just, that's what it takes, right?
Yeah.
And you can do it, absolutely, but it takes time. The major advantage to paid traffic is that it's fast, right? You can get traffic really fast in your funnel. The major disadvantage for most people is that, well, it costs money. And so I started looking at this and I was like, well, for you guys that are listening, if that's your worry, I don't know, Tony, for you or anybody that's listening, if you ever worried about like spending money on traffic, it's like, what if I
Yeah.
don't make that money back? If there's fear around that, right?
I think that's a big worry of a lot of people. It's like,
Yeah.
I have X amount to spend. What if I spend it and get nothing back? And then I'm, behind the 8 ball again.
Totally. So what if I could tell you that there's a way to get paid traffic, fast traffic into your funnel without having to pay for it? Would that be cool? Would you want to know that?
I would definitely, and I'm sure all of our listeners are putting their ear closer to the speaker right now, waiting to hear, what you have to say.
Yeah, so this is what I figured out because you're like, okay, I've gotten all this traffic, but I've never spent a dime of my own money on traffic. Because what happens is most people look at investing in traffic as like, oh, I have to spend all of this money. Okay, we've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on our funnel. And then people look at that and they go, well, I don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to spend. Well, neither did I. I didn't. And this is the value of the mighty offer system. Because what happens is you create an offer, like I was saying, on the front end that is not just break even, but is actually profitable on the front end.
Okay.
What does that mean? That means I put $100 in and I make $150 out. Did I really spend $100?
No, you made 50.
Yeah, I made 50, right? So now, so sure, I make an initial investment of $100. I put it in there. I make 150 back. Now I take that 150, I reinvest the same money back into the ads and then get, 300 out. Take that 300, I put it back into the ads and then get a certain amount out. And I just kept reinvesting the same profits back into the funnel until I was able to scale it to a level where we were getting 50 to 100 people buying a day, 1,500 to 3,000 people seeing the page per day. See, when you have a funnel that's profitable like this, where you're making money for every dollar that you put in. So for example, Tony, like if I offered you a $10 bill and I said it's only going to cost you $1 to get it, would you take me up on that offer?
All day long.
How many times would you take that offer?
As many times as you'd give it to me.
As many times as I give it to you, right? And so when I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, if I run my business like this, it turns out that like I'm not actually spending money. I go to my accountant and he'd be like looking at our numbers and our expenses for the month and be like, you have ad expenses and software and labor and team and everything like that. And he'd be like, hey, your advertising expenses are a little bit high. And I go to my accountant, I'm like, advertising expenses? He's like, this is your advertising budget. I'm like, I don't have an advertising budget. I don't have one because the more I spend, the more I make.
Yeah.
And so like, I'm not going to stick to a budget. If it's profitable, if it's working, spend more. All right. And so in that way, you're able to, like, if you get your numbers right, and you know how to do it and you use a mighty offer to bring people in, well, now you don't have to pay. You're not paying to get traffic. You're actually getting paid to get traffic. Because in all of that, you could look at it like we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, but the reality is that like I didn't really spend anything. I made millions in profit to get those people there.
It's very interesting. It's almost like compound interest. It's like when you put money into a bank, or you put in any kind of investment, you're putting it in, you're taking the interest, and you're just reinvesting it and then building on top of it. So, you
Yeah.
start off with an initial investment that usually it sounds like you got it back pretty quick. Your initial $100 you probably got back. And even if you took that out, once you have, a couple thousand now, your initial investment is free and clear, and then you're just utilizing the profits to continue to grow. That is a really great strategy.
Yeah.
So how, talking about Mighty Offers, what are some tips, or how can you help somebody do this if they wanted to do this? What are some steps they can do to do something like this? Where can they get started?
Yeah. So for the last 5 years, I've been coaching filmmakers. And that's what my business has been, is selling online courses and coaching programs to filmmakers. We help videographers to make their videos look better, look more cinematic, and then get clients doing that. And in the time that I was doing that and teaching that, well, I grew my business selling courses to multiple 7 figures. And so, for a long time, I've been thinking like, man, this is something that like I've developed this skill and know how to do it. This is something that I could help people with as well. And luckily I had some friends that were good friends of mine that helped me realize like how much of an opportunity there was for me to help so many more people and show them how to use these Mighty Offer strategies. Because it's an incredibly simple business model, and it runs on autopilot. It's largely evergreen. Nothing's like truly fully passive, right? I still work, okay? But I have a lot of freedom to go on vacation or spend time with my wife and my kids, or like when I need to. And so, it's the most amazing system to me, and has helped me to grow to where I am today. And so I started offering to show this to other people. And so I've got this product called the Mighty Offers Workshop. If you're an entrepreneur, you're a course creator, coach, or consultant, or selling services or digital products online, inside the Mighty Offers Workshop, I will show you like my entire process of how this system works. How do I put together an offer that's really compelling, that's irresistible, that people want to buy? How do I build the funnel and structure it? That funnel I talked about that's like dialed in, because we've spent so much money testing it. We've made it like it's like perfect right now.
That's awesome.
So I show you that funnel, exactly how to do it.
Wow.
Show you how we use ads to get things going. And then there's a second module in there that's really cool, where I actually go into like my optimization and profit strategies. So now that you've got your funnel and your offer down, now how do you optimize it to make as much profit as possible? And what happens is when you utilize this system, like I said, you bring in buyers on the front end into your funnel, you take those buyers, and then now you can ascend them into your higher ticket offers. So you end up with a system that runs for you in the background and makes you money, so that you're not having to worry about like always going out and getting clients. They're just kind of coming in the door. It's building a list of people that are likely to buy from you. And then you get to work with like your best buyers, the people that are proving that they are willing to spend money with you, not the freebie seekers. And you've got this system that runs in the background and allows you to pull people out of there and work with them and nurture those relationships so that you can get them into your core, your signature, your high ticket offers. And it basically just runs on autopilot. So that's the Mighty Offers Workshop. It's only $47. So for $47, you can get access to the entire workshop, or break down the whole system. Tony's got a link for you that he'll drop in the chat. And so you guys can check it out, and it'll be awesome to see you in there.
That's awesome. I mean, that is worth way more than $47. It sounds like. I mean, to utilize all of the information that you use to hit to Comma Club and spell it out for people just right then and there, I think that's exciting. I can't wait to check it out myself.
Awesome.
It's awesome. So if somebody doesn't have an offer, do you help them figure out what would be good for them, or is that included in the workshop as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So I do cover like my offer creation strategy, how I think about offers and how I put it together. I actually have a very specific method for how to create an offer that I'm gonna get a little crazy here, but how to create an offer that your market wants to buy, not necessarily what you want to sell. And that's the secret, right? That's part of the secret. Is so many of us entrepreneurs are trying to sell things that we want to sell. But like, does your customer want to buy what you want to sell, or do they want to buy what they want to buy? Right. And so I actually have a process in there inside the workshop where I show you step by step how to do it. how to find out from your market very clearly what it is that they're looking for from you, what they want to get from you, so that you can go and create exactly that, and then they buy it like crazy. And
Wow.
people, we've done this with our market. People go nuts, and they're like, I can't believe this. This is amazing. This is the best course ever. This is exactly what I've always been looking for. And I kind of chuckle to myself, and I say, well, it's because you told me what you wanted.
Mhm.
These sales, when it comes down to, if I were to boil sales down into a nutshell, right? It's ask people what they want and then give it to them.
Yeah.
Or better put, sell it to them, right? Because you're always going to do better if you're selling what people actually want to buy, rather than trying to sell what you wanted to create and what you wanted to sell.
And people all day long will pay for something that they are actually asking for. It's harder to sell them something or convince them to buy something that they weren't thinking they wanted.
Yeah.
But with something like this, I know a lot of people, especially here in the entrepreneurial journey and people who listen to the podcast, we're all entrepreneurs and we're looking to others who have been there before and been successful. And that's, one of the reasons why I started this and bring on amazing guests like yourself, so that we can learn from those who came before us and have tried and failed and then tried again and succeeded, and learning from your successes. And, something like this can help, maybe not necessarily fast track, but definitely show us the path to take in order to follow the steps and then become successful ourselves. So
yeah, absolutely.
I really appreciate you coming on today and sharing this with us, because this is absolute gold. And I think anybody who's looking to, if you have a goal to make Two Comma Club, or even have a successful business and work for yourself, or transition out of working, a 9-to-5 job, and you want to work for yourself and you've been looking for something, this is definitely a great way to start.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
awesome.
Thank you for having me on, Tony. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been a great pleasure. I'm really glad Chris connected us, and I'm looking forward to checking out your workshop. And I know everybody here, if you listened at anything Eric has said today, this is really something that can really help you scale your business and find out that exact tool and dialed in way to get the traffic without paying lots of money out of pocket. Definitely for $47, it's definitely something that is going to be money well spent. So go check it out. We'll put the link down in the comments here below. And if you're listening to the podcast, it'll be in the show notes as well. Again, Eric, thank you very much for joining us here today. We'll have to have you on again and talk to you a little bit more. And maybe we'll get some other people who have taken the challenge and taken your workshop, maybe bring them on here as well, and get some testimonials live and see how it's working out for them. Because I know this is definitely gold. So
yeah, that'd be awesome. We'll do it. Thanks, Tony.
Awesome, buddy. Thanks everybody for listening to the Entrepreneurial Journey podcast. And we will see you again real soon here in the Facebook group live, and then also on the podcast. Thanks everyone. Have a great day.